demos, we have parents versus demo. Eventually, we have Dean who won't give us a demo, and we have who else have demos? Nobody? I have 3 new sites we can look at. I found them. And status time. And topics if you have topics, as usual. Okay. I don't have anything in mind. The end of September is approaching fast, so we'll ship a new version. Orchard 1. What's new on Orchard 1 since the 7th? We have that HtmlDecode token, so a new token available. We had HTML encode, now we have HtmlDecode. Okay. And there is a PR that will probably be merged soon to make the SSL redirections permanent. And I asked for a setting. However, what's interesting is that, yeah, I asked for a setting because I didn't want the redirect to be there all the time. Like if you do your local development and you have a permanent redirect, you can't go to the non-HTTPS anymore and you don't know what's happening. And but I wonder if we didn't have that before, because it looks like I had this issue by the past. So it's weird that we need to add a new setting. Enabled. Or maybe that was the enabled flag that I, okay. Yeah, okay, so and then this is just here. This is parameterized now, use permanent redirect. Okay, so that's it for Orchard 1. Orchard core, what do we have? Lots of PR merged. So if I look at main, from there, fixes localization feature not listed in the admin. Interesting. Is that because of that? That's weird. Okay, CMS web template consistency. Okay, that's much more consistent, right? Okay. Diagnostics module fix. Okay, because there was an exception because of that. Diagnostics, PR from Member Sky. Remove unnecessary references. I explain why we don't usually remove the unnecessary references, because they might be necessary. It's just that they are also included transiently by other references. Like maybe display management is including liquid abstractions, right? So just referencing that will give you liquid abstractions. But that's kind of wrong, because if your module is directly dependent on liquid abstraction, we should add it still, even if it's included in display management, because maybe tomorrow display management won't need liquid abstraction anymore and will break this module. In this case, they check that it was not used directly or indirectly. So now it's removed. Add health check options. The option here is to be able to change the URL of the health check. This is the default provided by Spinet, and this is the default value in the options. And you can change the options, this options class now, or change the settings here. So Simple change. Add link to AutoSetup in the setup docs, just cross-referencing the setup with AutoSetup. So you can navigate from the setup to the AutoSetup and from the AutoSetup to the setup, because there are some common options. Update README. Bad documentation, messaging when getting part, InvalidCastException. Yeah, it's just that sometimes if you forget to register your part, you might have some cast errors and you don't know why. So here it's just testing what's the issue, and in this case displaying a more meaningful error, saying, hey, you are trying to cast to this part. Did you register this part? This part with this method call. MKDocs, Bootstrap 5.1, and that's it. Questions, comments? One thing I did this branch, and let me talk about it. So ETH HtmlDecode. It's interesting. So Antoine found this field because I made a PR to create a similar field, and then hey, it already exists there in this repository. It's also Lombiq. So the field I made was because someone on the Gitter asked for something, and I'm like, okay, give me 1 hour, I will do this field. It's a key value pair. So in this case, it's called dictionary, and the idea being to be able to add a key and a value multiple times. In their case, it was to add custom CSS class or custom HTML attributes. Okay, so you could add ID, foo, class, bar, whatever attributes you want to an element, and it was done as a field. So I did one using the view editor we have to edit cultures, and then Antoine pointed me to this one, which seems to be exactly the same thing with a custom editor, which is much nicer actually. And so just to show you that there is this project, portrait core field from the H company, Peter Keating, if you don't, one of the employees in H UK. So this project, this module contains multiple fields. Color, to pick a color, to edit some code, dictionary, an Eventbrite field, multi-select.
Yeah, the only issue with this module and with the other Edge modules, by the way, is that they are spelling color wrong.
I see what you mean. They are British, so yeah, might be the issue. So you might copy paste them, fill them. Query, editors can choose from a drop-down list of queries. Render alias. Editor to specify a content item by its alias to be rendered in a specified display type. Okay, wow. So you can point to it's like a content item reference. This should be an editor for the content item field. It should not be a custom field. Response media. Okay, so lots of fields interesting. And they are on NuGet. That's what is magic here. They are on NuGet. Okay. So that's very nice. If I click on the owners, we can find more modules. Yeah, so maybe if one day they want to include it in core, that would be nice. Like this field will have lots of things that are very interesting. That I also wish I could share the websites they make, but they say no, don't share the website even if it's public. One day. They used to be called Move To, but they were acquired by H, so now they are H UK. They do web game websites, video game website.
I think they have a couple of websites up on Show Orchard, by the way. So it is actually public somehow. And they also said they will have a new one.
Yeah, so I've seen a new one. They didn't want me to talk about it, but it's live, so I won't mention it. Categories, entertainment, probably.
There's one on the homepage of orchardcore.net.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah. This one is an old one. I'm sure it's not anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This one was done by them also, but the game never came out actually. Yeah, they delayed and delayed again, and then they said, okay, no, or maybe they made it for free. That was it. Yeah, okay, that's it. Just mentioning their work. Okay, demo time. Ferenc, do you want to do a demo? And then answer all my questions. And cry over all my comments.
Ferenc?
Okay.
Are you ready to cry?
Yeah, maybe. So, I will start the screen sharing. Okay. We have a new open source repository, which you can find on Lombiq/hosting tenants on GitHub. This provides two new modules. The first one is tenants admin module. It can be useful if we can log in to any tenants we host from the default, and we can make some configuration and we can help the user. So this module implements this login functionality. The module delivers two features: the tenant admin feature and tenant admin sub tenants. The first feature, which only available on the default tenant, is bring a button up on any tenant's edit page if the tenant is up and running. And if we click this login as admin user button, then magically we can log in to the target tenant as an administrator user. The second feature is the subtenant feature. This must be enabled on those tenants which we want to allow to this login procedure. Yeah, and this is the functionality. This use an already exist admin user. So if on the target tenant has no administrator, then we can not log in to the page. So that is the tenant admin module. And the second module in hosting tenants repository is tenants management. With this module, we can restrict the request URL host when we create a new tenant. For example, in this demo, we configure this list, and with this hosting, we can't create a new tenant. So let's see. Demo. For example, orchard demo.nest.net. And yeah, with this hostname, we can't create a tenant. Or if we create with a correct hostname, with a correct hostname, and then you want to edit it to forbidden one. Then we can save this modification. So this was the two modules in the hosting tenants repository. Thank you.
Thank you. I have some questions. And I invite anyone else to also ask questions and provide comments. So the first module, my question is for the subtenant feature. Can you select which account the main tenant will be logging with?
No, we will log in with the first admin user. So we can.
What does it mean? What does it mean to be an admin user?
The first admin.
There is no such thing as an admin user in Orchard. So
yeah,
maybe you are authenticating there is a super user.
Not with the super user,
okay.
With the user with administrator role.
There is no such thing as an administrator in Orchard. It's just a string somewhere that someone could decide to not use at all, or rename or whatever. So I think, and I could also remove all the roles from administrator or not have a single user on administrator. So I think it will not be harder to have a setting in the feature so you could give the user account that is used to authenticate from the default tenant.
So,
and this way you could even have a custom one that you are sure that for audit trace reasons that this is the one that is used from the default tenant. It's like the host, like the manager of the multi-tenant system. And you know that this is them that we did that and not someone else because it's the first in the list for some reasons. It's like a super guest account. And then you don't connect as admin, you connect as the super guest because it has the module for that. My suggestion. You don't have to do that, but if I did that in the Orchard way, that's how I would do that.
Yeah, by the way, selecting the first user in the in the role called administrator is the first guess. If it doesn't work, it tries the super user from the side settings.
Okay. Using the super user is a better approach, in my opinion, than the first of the administrator role because it's super specific and it's not at all deterministic, so you don't know what's happening. Like, imagine there is an actual administrator that has an account, their own account, and then in the audit trail, you see that they changed something. How can you prove then that the audit trail is actually the audit trail? It's just no, it's actually you are sharing the account with someone else, so there is no more audit trail. But then if you create a custom account for that, even if it has the administrator role or whatever role you want to call it, like super manager administrator, you don't care, or even no roles and just permissions that are completely specific. At least you know that this account is used for remote authentication from the tenant manager, and I think that would be better. And then if you want to use an existing user that has some business reasons, then fine, you can still do that. But there is no more, it's very deterministic. You know which account will be used to connect to the system. And if you want to use the super user, then you put the same name as the super user. I think that would be better. And not much harder to implement, right? It's just select the value from the text box instead of doing a list and picking up the first one. Just that was my comment.
Okay, it's a good suggestion, so thank you.
Yes, Otan, do you want to add something?
Nothing else.
Okay. Then about the other module, which one was the other module? Refresh my mind. There was the tenants, and there was the what was the other module about? Tenants management.
Hostname, forbidden
Hostname, yes, hostname. Okay, interesting. I have some suggestions and questions. First question is, what's your business scenario? I could just imagine that you don't want people to use your domain, but what is the business scenario there? Why do you want to have a disallow list of domain names?
Let me answer that. So, this is for a SaaS scenario where we just want to disallow certain names. It's not for moderation reasons, but rather to exclude some very basic ways that people can show something different than they really are. So, for technical reasons, we disallow some subdomains that are used otherwise. And also something like admin.nest.net.
Okay. Why not have a disallow and an allow list? Or like, so this is how Dean is about to implement, by the way, the feature to define, what was the thing we demoed and we commented about using profiles? Whole profiles, yeah. Features, feature profile, yeah, same thing. So the design we agreed on was to have a list of allow or disallow patterns in order. This way you can say disallow star, like allow nothing, and then allow star.nest.com, and then disallow admin.nest.com, and so on in an order. And then this way you can either decide to exclude a range or a specific one, or allow a specific range, and so on. That was the way we found that was the most flexible and also simple way to have both ways of allowing and disallowing ranges stuff. It can be a specific one, or it can be using star mapping. That's just a thought. Instead of having a list of predefined like this, having a list of actions like allow, disallow, and a value. But it's more flexibility. Something else I want you to do, and I would love to have in Orchard, is so right now, when you have a tenant, there are a set of domains assigned. There is a configuration parameter in ASP.NET that is the allowed domains or allowed hosts in the app settings.config. And this one by default in the Orchard template is star, the same way it's default also in ASP.NET. It's star because we don't want to limit anything. That would be great to have it set up for it. And that's nothing to do with your module, but it could be part of it, or it could be part of Orchard core directly. That would be great to configure that for each tenant, for the system, based on all the tenants that are available on the system, such that we can't serve another domain than the ones that are actually provided by a tenant. Otherwise, that could be a security issue. So you usually do that when you deploy your site, but in a SaaS solution, all these domains are dynamic. So you can't have a static list in a configuration. So that's why it's better to have that defined dynamically. So it's the allowed hosts configuration in the Kestrel configuration. It would be ideal to have it computed from the list of domains from all the tenants in the startup middleware or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Sebastian. That would be probably for a different use case. I mean, referring to your more generic approach. Yeah, we needed to exclude specific, pretty much specific strings.
Cool. Nice. Thank you. You have very real constraints, and you need actual solutions to your constraints. So that's very nice to see what issues you face when you actually build stuff and people use it. Okay, all good. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the demo. I didn't share anything. Was I sharing my screen? No, it's not sharing my screen. There is nothing to see, but just something to see. Questions, comments for Ferenc from anyone in the meeting? All good. It's a Lombiq meeting today. 4 of you, right? At least I assume that's only 4, but maybe I don't know. Unless Antoine is working for Lombiq also, sometimes. Okay, so next thing on my list is 3 new websites or sites I didn't know about that are running on Orchard Core. So let's open this one first. Plantersproduct.com in the Philippines. Nice company website. Lots of pages, news. There are taxonomies, super fast. You see up taxonomy. Very nice search engine. So very nice thing. Somehow similar from what I see to what was the one with the Santa Monica one with categories and articles for each category, cards. So very nice site. Orchard Core. And fast, right, as you can see. The first one, maybe someone will add it to Orchard, I don't know. Second one, medical sharing, insurance company website. Enter your zip code and get quotes or colors. What if I type my zip code? You're almost there. Give me all your information and I will tell you how much it costs. Yeah. Third website. AIC Agile classes for software. No, portfolio management for business agility. Yeah, nice website again. Custom menus. I don't know how they did that. That's yet another website. Oh, is that a custom controller with custom search? Is it using the search engine? Not sure we can know about that, but search. Yeah. Looks like there was some Ajax code, so let's try again. Yeah, there is. I can't read. API, so custom API. I don't see the Orchard Core in this case. I'm not sure it's injected in that case, actually. Oh no, I actually see they don't have the header. That's interesting. They don't have the Orchard Core header, right? But this is the Orchard Core login. I don't know how I found it. So do they have that in the? No, it's not. They don't have the header. They don't have any information there. But they have themes. But there is a theme you see, and you see the the login menu from Anderson Media folder. So this is definitely Orchard Core, but they removed the identifier. I'm not a fan of removing it because we can't know who's using Orchard Core, and that's also how we survive, by showing off all the users we have. This way, people are like, wow, that's a super nice site. I want to do it with Orchard Core. Hey, I need to work with Lombiq, so they can create my Orchard Core website. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm right. Everyone is using Orchard Core. More work for Lombiq. Awesome. Questions, comments, topics? Anything you want to talk about, complain about, be thankful for? No, all good, done. We are missing Dean demos. One day you will come back with some demos. Also, so Thierry said he will come back to us with a new website that will show us. Looking forward to it. Okay, then meeting done, and I will be on time for my next appointment. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday or next Tuesday for the next meeting. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ferenc, for the demo. Welcome to the meeting.